Well, welcome to another episode, Let the Truth Be Told. My name is Sean Williams, and I'm here with my close friend, Herbert Burnett. Herbert Burnett, we call AKA Hub.
Yes,
and so I thank the Lord for being in the studio with you once again, man. I mean,
been a couple weeks.
It's been a couple weeks. It's been
maybe
a few
even
weeks.
3.
Yeah, it might be a few weeks, you know. And so we're trying to get this program going where we can have some new stuff going on, because there's always something going on. And so trying to get the program in here so that we'll put some new stuff on the table so that you don't get bored with the old show.
Yeah.
And so we have so many people that come up to us and say, man, when you going to tape another program?
Yes, sir.
And so we try to keep it fresh for you. I'm going to let my brother Hub introduce himself and give you a backdrop of some of the things that's been going on in the community.
Herbert Burnett, Suits by Soldier. We got the look. Shout out to Housing Authority, David Northern.
Yes.
$1.5 million for youth bill.
Yes.
What I love about this man is he going above and beyond.
Yes, yes, yes.
He trying to change the youth.
Yes.
He doing some stuff that somebody else's lane. I don't know who lane, but shout out to the Housing Authority and their CEO, David Northern.
Yes.
Also, Girls to Women, Yetta Turner and Big Wayne.
Hey, big
they
shots.
got the girls crack-a-lacking, and man, they got some women of valor.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a who's who on that women's side.
Yeah,
Man, they got about 15 to 20 women pouring into these young ladies, man, and it gives me hope.
Yeah.
You know, because the young ladies need it worse than the men.
Man, everybody got something.
Yeah,
something
so
that
shout
can
out
contribute.
to, we got boys to men and girls to women.
Yeah.
CEO is Wayne and Yetta Turner. Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
Urbana Central game tonight at Urbana at our house. Should be a good game. If you're not doing nothing, come out. Now, if you're watching this on TV, it's probably already passed because this is Friday. And last but not least, Dr. William Maurice Patterson.
Okay.
Born and raised on Beardsley Avenue in Ellis Drive. Ellis Drive is named after Dr. Ellis subdivision, after the first black doctor in Champaign County. He's got this hip-hop mobile going, and people are fired up. It's going to touch so many lives, both young and old. I had a friend at my shop. He said, man, I got to go. I got to be at, we call him Reese, but he's Dr. William Patterson.
Yeah.
I got to be at Dr. P's class because we having a class. Just excited. Yeah. Just energy, man. And so shout out to him, man. A lot of great things going on in the community, and we just need to push forward.
You know, hopefully this program helps put fire into people to inspire them to get out and get more involved within the community. So hopefully we're being some contribution to some of that great success. Because we need all hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
We need all hands on deck. And so big shouts out to Marlon Mitchell with the reentry program.
Yes, sir.
They're just about to open up. I think on this week is their first reentry men's shelter.
Man, I was in a meeting with Marlon, man, and he's a heavy dude.
Yeah.
And he has a heart for God's people in this community.
Yeah.
He don't do the riff-raff stuff. He ain't got time for, he's a no-nonsense type guy.
He ain't with the foolishness.
And salute you, Marlon. Real talk.
Big shouts out to you, man. Vincent Duho, his right-hand man. Tamika, all the rest of the folks that's over there. He got a part of that program.
Your boy, Marcel.
Marcel
teaching class.
Marcel called me on yesterday.
Listen to me. Dr. Marlon, he working on his PhD. Marlon Mitchell, future Dr. Marlon Mitchell got Marcel teaching class. That's powerful, man.
Big shouts out to you, Marcel, making that, man. I mean, you know, it's been a long time coming. You know, and don't worry about your haters, man, because everybody want to see you stuck.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the sad part about the community. We want to see people where they were at instead of see people for where they going.
Yes, sir.
And so, but big shouts out to you. He called me yesterday. He said, hey, man, look, he didn't tell me he was going to be speaking. He just told me that they had a program and he wanted me to be there. I looked up, went into the room, and it was almost his turn up. And so he was able to do his first presentation about the work that he'd been doing, carpentry work, drywall, all of those different skills that Vincent Dijo and some of the other people that's skilled in those areas have been teaching those young folks. So that go along with Youth Bill and some of the things that the grant is with Dr. David Moreland and Northern and what he has going on. So excellent job, guys. Excellent job. You know, Hub, as I thought about our program and how we were going to go and what direction we was going to go into today, you know, I've been busy all morning long, just trying to, you know, we had a little snow and I'm trying to put salt everywhere, and I've been thinking about our program that we had to do today, and so and the topic of today's show will be, what do you see?
What do you see?
What do you see? It's 2020.
2020
So we're in the
vision.
year 2020.
Yeah.
And what do you see?
What do you see?
What do you see? And so I'm wrapping my mind around it, right? And so you know, me and you, I've been going to church all my life. What Roy would say right now, we church boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes folks are ashamed to say you're a
Yeah.
church boy.
Yeah.
I've been going to church all my life.
Yeah.
And so what happened to me is that I thought about scripture to put some meat behind what we're talking about. And I thought about scripture, and that's why I called you, and I said, man, it's a scripture that go along with this here. So I was calling, I called you, and I said, man, you know, when I thought about Moses, and I thought about him bringing the folks out of Egypt, right? And they were going to the promised land. So, you know, they walking around and you know, they walking around in circles, and they walking around in circles, and listen to Dr. Miles Monroe, they was only 40 miles from the promised land, but they walked around 40 years because couldn't nobody see. Couldn't nobody see promised land right over there. So what they did, they got frustrated. They sent some scouts out. So they want the scouts to check out the new land, right? So when the scouts came back with a scouting report, right? And the scouting report said in Mark chapter 8, verse 24, said, he looked up and said, I see people that look like trees walking around. In the new Living Translation, said the man looked around and said, yes, he said, I see people, but I can't see them very clearly. They look like trees walking around. You know, and when I got that vision is that when they got to the promised land, man, it was the land of milk and honey. When they finally ended up getting there, it wasn't really what they thought they saw. I mean, it was new, it was fresh, it was new ideas, it was new place of destiny, right? And so as I think about what do you see, when most of the time, Brother Hub, when we're trying to come up with a vision of what, so let's go back to vision. When we're trying to come up with we're thinking about our own eyesight, right? And our own eyesight hold us back from thinking and creating vision because we're seeing ourselves for where we're at right now. We're looking around and we're seeing ourselves and we going off our old stuff that we did, our old hurts, habits, and hang-ups that held us up from being able to see something larger than Champaign-Urbana or larger than where we're at right now. And so that's just physical sight.
Right.
But the biggest thing that hurt us, right, the failure that hurt us is that we'll use our physical sight to keep us from vision. Vision is thinking about the future.
That's right. That's right.
And when I thought about faith, faith is an ingredient of vision. We just think about faith.
Faith is the substance of things unseen,
It's a
the
substance.
evidence of things not seen.
So
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. By it, the elders obtain a good report.
Yeah.
That's that scout.
Yeah.
By faith, the elders. Check this out.
See, and I ain't no preacher, but I'm down preaching lane.
Hey, check this out. This is a magnifying glass, and I can put it on my past, hurts, habits, and hang-ups, or I can put it on my future. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Wherever I put it is right. Wherever I put this, it's gonna be magnified.
You know, Brother Hub, when I got back to Champaign and I was cutting a little bit around here, right, and so I ended up having to go get a job, and I was working at Airborne Express, right, and I'm driving the van. I put all these packages in there, and they would work. Man, these jobs would work you to the bone. And I'm running, I find myself running because some of the packages had to be out by a certain time in the morning, 10 o'clock, you know, and all these packages, so I'm running to places. And I'm frustrated with the job. I'm riding in that van and I'm frustrated. I'm like many of you that's frustrated with your jobs, right? And I just knew God had more potential for me, man. I seen more, I had a vision for more. I'm like, man, God, I know you got something more for me. And when I finally got fed up, cause change come when you tired of being tired, right? And I got tired of that, and I called the guy on the radio. We had walkie-talkies in the radio, and I said, Keith, man, you gonna be in at lunchtime? Cause I need to talk to you. I said, bro, I got in from lunch. I said, hey man, I thank you for the opportunity, man. But man, I'm a barber, and my full potential is gonna come through barbering, bro. And I said, man, I don't want to neglect that you gave me this opportunity. So I know some more brothers that I'm gonna talk to this afternoon that'll be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So you won't be missing one man. You might have to get a bigger uniform than mine to fit them, but I'm gonna send you somebody else because I knew it was something deeper in the inside.
On the inside.
A lot of times we can't get to a finish line because we never get started.
Well, it's the easy. It's the path of least resistance. When I retired from the United States Army, all I had to do is change uniforms and work in the office across the hall, and I'd have been at 6 figures in 3 years.
Yeah.
Because that's what all my buddies did.
Yeah.
So we played dominoes. Now, they already showed me the game. You go right out of the Army to a GS job.
Yeah.
Play the roads. You start about GS11, GS9, at the least GS9, but probably GS11 because I knew everybody. And they thought I was a fool because I took a head coaching job that wasn't paying them, a freshman job wasn't paying them about $3,000, and I was a permanent sub making about $100 a day. They thought I was plumb crazy, but that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so most people would take the path of the least resistance. Oh man, they paying this money, I'm gone. But they gonna be frustrated because they done sold their soul for the bread instead of the purpose that's inside them.
Yeah.
And you understood that purpose was calling your name.
Man, what you talking about, man? I mean, I was full in the inside, but I had untapped power, unleashed power that was in me, man, that I knew that God had something else better for me. And being in Champaign in a small Midwestern town is what Julio called a small Midwestern town is what we're in, with the small-mindedness of a small Midwestern town, and say, who do you think you are to step outside the box and do something that our culture have never seen?
That's right.
And that's what hold our young folks back right now because you don't see anybody shaking and moving outside the box.
But America has programmed for that. You talked about it with the Autobahn.
Yeah.
How you can go have other don't you go more than 55? You know what I'm saying? And so we the only country to play the World Series by ourselves.
Oh, wow.
We call Golden State the world champs. But they ain't played Zimbabwe. They ain't played China. How they the world champs? The NBA world champs. But see, we legends in our own mind.
Yeah.
And so that's why you can go to Macy's and they got 150 jackets the same. Don't worry about it. Just look the same. Don't worry about it. All y'all look the same.
That's what our culture teaches us.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Go get a job.
Yes, sir.
Raise a family.
Yes, sir.
Retire.
Yes, sir.
And die.
Yes, sir.
And ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if that ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I'm not knocking that.
Right.
But at the same time, a lot of that brings on frustration because so let me go here.
Yeah.
Listen to Dr. Miles. The wealthiest place
In the world.
is the cemetery. Because it's untapped power.
Potential. Power.
And potential.
Yeah.
Untapped potential.
Yeah. Because
Songs that was never written.
Yeah. Books.
Books never
That's right.
written. You know, songs never sang. You know,
Lay 6 feet under.
Paintings.
That's
recipes.
Right. Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
new designs for
Yes, sir.
vehicles.
Let me tell you something. Shout out to Mark Pelmore, great friend of ours. He's on his 48th, 49th book, man, and he allowed me to write the foreword. And, man, I got up. I was late. I was about 2 weeks late writing it. And I got up. The Lord woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wrote the foreword in 30 minutes, and it just flowed. And he said, I'm trying to motivate you to write your book.
Yeah.
I got every chapter written, but I'm procrastinating. And that's why the graveyard is the wealthiest place, because we procrastinate. And sometimes it be the devil in your mind It'd be that other person talking, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't lead this job. Sergeant Burnett, 14 years in the Army. Sergeant Burnett, what are you doing with a clothing store? You in the Army, what are you doing with a clothing store? In all due respect, sir, Colonel, what are you doing with Lieutenant Colonel rank? I was just playing. Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
You can be a Lieutenant Colonel, but I can't think out of the box and open the clothing business because I'm in the Army. Where the rule at that says that?
Right, right. What? And then that limited rule, that the limited rule that we've been living on.
Yeah.
Who wrote that rule?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that was my point.
Who set the standard for that?
Because you're a colonel and I'm a sergeant, I'm not supposed to think about life after I call it LATA, life after the Army. All these kids I got, they want to go to college.
You know, Brother Hub, as you said, procrastination, right? We procrastinate on so many different things, you know, of trying to tap into something, you know. And tomorrow's not promised to nan one of us. Tomorrow's not promised. So you got to do it today. And there's some scriptures along that about working today.
Work wise day, because when night
there
comes,
go right
no
there.
more work. Now I'm gonna throw a disclaimer in there. Tomorrow is promised to me. This is my belief. Tomorrow is promised to me because God have gave me some things that He want me to do. And in 2004, when I was loading the plane to go to Iraq, and I said, Lord, I don't want to die, I want my soldiers to die. He said, ain't nothing going to happen to you. I got work for you to do in Rantoul. So really, when I was in Iraq on them convoys, because He gave me comfort in knowing what nothing going to happen to me, I could have been asleep on them convoys. But I had to set the right example for my soldiers. But I got a little Paul in me. See, Paul said, I fought a good fight. And I finished my course. See, I can't die until I finish what God put me here to do. But that's because I'm in my purpose. I'm plugged with God. Now, if you ain't plugged with God, then tomorrow's not promised, and death is a pop quiz. I caught some heat last week on a radio show because I made the statement that God didn't know nothing about Kobe's bucket list. Kobe talked just less than 6 months ago about his bucket list, about all his plans and stuff that he wanted to do the next 3 or 5 years. God didn't know nothing about that. So you better make sure God know about your bucket list. You better make sure He agree with your plans, that your 3 to 5 year plans you got. Because if He don't know nothing about it, man, and He take your hand off of it, you out of here.
Right, and you know, and one thing about it, Brother Hub, and I notice this because I'm really observing. That's one thing I am, is observing.
Yes,
and into
sir.
the field that I'm in, into
Yes,
the
sir.
death business that I'm
Yes,
into,
sir.
I observe all that, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that, you know, when you talk about Kobe, you know, being tragically killed in a helicopter accident, and that was just a few weeks ago. I heard that they're gonna, I listened today that they're gonna do 224. They're
her number and his number.
Her number and his number, on, and on the 24th of February, they're gonna be doing that memorial service.
I want to go out
and
there.
And so that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some T-shirts out
and
there.
that death impacted the world. You know, and even if he didn't do the things that was on his bucket list, he created hope.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not.
I'm not. I know you're not.
Yeah, I'm not knocking.
I'm just addressing.
Yeah.
I'm just addressing his life, because what happens is that so many different deaths have happened. Not just Kobe dying. We had tragedy with some young men. We just had a murder that happened a couple of days ago. I had another young man that I was working diligently with for a funeral service, and then the week later he turned up. He wanted to rap at my club. He found out I had a club, and I told him, I said, yeah, man. He said, I rap, man. And then a week later he suddenly died from maybe a massive heart attack.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna make that happen through a video that he done. And so, but we focus more on the death.
Right.
Thinking that that's the end.
Right.
And so as I flip the script, and I'm thinking we focus more on the death because that's the end. Flip that script and think more about Kobe's life.
Right.
Think more about this young man's life.
Right.
What did he bring to the table during life?
Yes, sir.
Don't focus in on the death. Focus in on what these young folks been doing with their life, because all it's about is working that dash.
Right.
What did he implement, and what things that happened during that dash that we can learn from it to create more hope.
Now let me backtrack. I look at Big Wayne and Yetta. I look at Dr. P. I look at Marlon Mitchell. I look at Sean Williams. I look at a lot of people who are trying to change the environment of our community. And so if I bag up to about 2014, I had went down to Texas, supposed to have been there 3 days, ended up being there 10 days, and I was going to sneak back in town, sell my store, and I was going to move to Texas. And so when I got to Effingham, the Lord said, if you leave Champaign-Urbana, I'm going to take my hand off of you. I got work for you to do there. I got work for you to do here, and you trying to go to Texas. And so I said to God, I don't have no problem, Lord, because I want to be in your will. But don't let me rot around some jokers who don't want to change, who just wanted to be business as usual, want to be a spook at the door and sell their soul for some crumbs, as you said. I want to leave a legacy.
That's a big difference.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a
I'm
difference.
trying to leave a legacy for
It's
my
a difference.
children's children. Right? And I ain't got no problem with being in your will, God, because that's where I want to be. But don't leave me here to people who don't want change, who okay with how it is, because it stinks in your nostrils. And so it's important for you to work that dash, that people can see you. I did a funeral for you, and I ain't going to say no names, but I did a funeral for you, and this person had been in town 60-some years, born and raised right here, and it wasn't 20 people at that funeral. No. I want them to rent the assembly hall out for mine. I want them to use the assembly hall. I want people to come from far and near and say that dude there was a game changer.
Because of the fact that we see, and that go back to knowing your purpose. That go back to knowing your purpose, working inside your purpose. That go knowing your potential, you know, and being able to utilize that everyday energy because you know your purpose. And so many of us don't understand our purpose, or we're fearful to tap into our purpose.
Right.
So we'll do what's normal.
Normal, yeah. Go.
We'll do what's normal.
Take off my uniform and go over there and wear a civilian suit, but still be in the military.
Look, man.
Still got to jump.
I went to a NAACP banquet that I got award some years ago, and the speaker spoke about, the female speaker, she spoke about being a game changer. Her whole message was about being a game changer.
But that's I want, because I forgot to say this. That them names I named, your name, Wayne name, Marlon, all those names, that give me hope that change is coming.
Yeah.
Change is on the way, because people starting to roll up their sleeves and say, man, we can't let this happen on our watch, man. This stuff happened on our watch, and we can't get immune to it. One day I went in the morgue, and I said, man, I ain't going in the morgue no more. I told my colonel, sir, I ain't going in the morgue no more. Life ain't nothing like spitting in the wind. And he knew how to push my button. He knew I love my soldiers. He knew I love how to lead from the front. He said, well, Sergeant Burnett, if that's the way you feel, then you ain't got to go in the morgue no more. But you can't expect your soldiers to go in there either. So who going to do the job?
Somebody
the next day I was in the morgue.
Somebody got to do it.
You got to lead from the front.
Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it. You know, and when you talk about that, you know, just being that example, I give you this example, you know what I'm saying? I was down there at my place one night, and somebody threw up, right? And so I'm in, you know, it's my place, you know what I'm saying? It's my place, and we was on the balcony, and on the deck, and there's so many people out there, but they watching my moves, you know what I'm saying? Seeing what I'm gonna do. And so because of the amount of folks that we had, and I had them in place, no, you stay where you at. I'm the float man. So I went up there and I got the materials to clean up all the throw up. And folks was looking like, man, he cleaning up the throw up. But how can I ask you to do something I ain't gonna do?
Come on, man.
How can I ask you to do something?
That's the first rule of leadership.
You know what it did? When all the security and everybody started talking about what I had did that night, it brought a whole new respect for what I had to bring to the table. I mean, that was a buy-in. As a leader, you can't just keep on telling folks to do something and you ain't doing it. It's almost like when you at home and the way we was raised back in the day, do what I say and not as I do. And every household can relate to that because somebody in the house said that. No, a tree is known by its fruit.
Yes, sir.
And so these young folks out here that's doing it, we just went through where the young man nephew killed his uncle in Danville and killed 2 other of his uncle's friends. And so when I talk about a tree is known by its fruit, it's something that was going on with them young folks that was going on with them parents. Because a tree is known by its fruit. To even come up with something so heinous, something so heinous and so something so graphic and you know, I mean, it was just a horrible scene is what I hear. You know, when they went in and they looked at that, at what them guys did. You know, and so when you neglect your responsibility to pour into your young folk, that's why I was telling Mother Hattie on the radio, you know what I'm saying, she don't have to worry about her 2 grandsons because she get them in the mornings. She take them and let them get something in their head that when they get old, they won't depart from it, because when they friends say, let's go do this, it's a line in their head that's gonna draw, that's gonna say, no, I can't do that. But when you ain't got nothing that regulates you, when nothing governs you, you know, a car got a part on it called a governor.
Regulates.
It regulates. It regulates what the car gonna do. It's called a governor. It regulates what the car gonna do. Old folks showed me that. It's called a governor. The governor gone on.
Yeah.
When it wouldn't go right, the governor went out. And so them old men with the cigarette hanging out in the ash about that long, and they say, man, look, we need to go to Park Star. The governor gone out. The governor gone out. And that's because it regulated what the car would do and what it wouldn't do, man.
Yes, sir.
You got to have something that regulates you on what you will do and what you won't do.
And here's what come to my mind. If you didn't do nothing yesterday, how can you remember what you did? I'm going to say that one more time. I know that went past you fast.
Almost spent me.
If you didn't do nothing yesterday, how can you remember what you did if you didn't do nothing? And that's what these young folks, man, they waking up with nothing to do. No purpose. Don't know their purpose. See, when you don't know your purpose, anything goes. You'll use a microphone to hit a baseball when you don't know the intent purpose of the microphone. And so therefore, because you use a microphone to hit a baseball, the shelf life is cut from 20 years to maybe 20 days. So you wonder why all these young cats dying young? Because they're not being used. They don't know the purpose. They don't know their intent purpose. So because they're being used outside of their intent purpose, the shelf life is going down.
You know, and what popped in my head, Brother Hub, is because they don't even know their maker. How can you? How can I can go out right now and buy this iPad, and if I don't read the instructions of how to work this iPad, I'm not gonna get my full potential out of it. It's just another device. It's just something I plug in and charge up.
Yes, sir.
That's all it is.
That's all.
So when you don't know your maker and you don't know the rules and the standards and the limitations of who you are as a person, who you are as a person.
That's right. That's right.
You don't know your full potential.
That's right.
So you know, we always regulate, because Kobe, I think, how old is he? He passed away in his 30s. In his 30s, maybe 40.
Early 40s.
Early 40s.
He played 20 years.
So maybe early 40s. And so I talked to you about this the other day. You know, the Bible talks about that we'll get three score and 10, which is 70 years. Okay, and we should get that. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody gonna get 3 scores and 10. Some people gonna get up out of here a little early. And when I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe,
especially they don't obey their mother and father.
Oh yeah. And you know, and live a high risk lifestyle.
Yeah.
And live a high risk lifestyle. And so I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said Jesus only lived 33 years.
But what did he do?
But man, he accomplished so much. He accomplished so much in 33 years that some of us won't create in the whole 70 that we've been promised. And I just looked at the Tuskegee Airman that just got the award around his neck. He 103. One of the final Tuskegee Airmen. He 103. So life ain't determined on and measured on how long you're here. It's what you do while you're here. And so many of us ain't doing nothing. And then we creating folks that ain't doing nothing. So ain't nothing being happening. So we creating these communities where ain't nothing happening. And so when I was listening to Marlon Mitchell yesterday, he said you can measure a community on how productive it is off its young folks. Look at the young adults. Look at the opportunities for young adults. Look at things that's going on with young folks. Look at their face of what's going on. Take their physical temperature. You know, we got the coronavirus going on right now.
Litmus test.
You know, we got the coronavirus going on now. And so all around the world, at airports all around the world, they checking your temperature. So when you checking these folks' temperature, find out what's going on. So when I check the community's temperature,
the pulse of the community.
1580 had they had a slogan.
Yeah.
Said the pulse of the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
1580 back in the day when they first, it was the pulse of the Twin Cities. It was the heartbeat of the African American community. You know what I'm saying? And when the heartbeat gone, that means you're dead. So now we got a dead community trying to live. And that's what's happening. They say, well, oh, Sean, what's going on? I got a meeting here in just a minute to go with CU Fresh Start to try to pump life into folks to create a fresh start for them, right? And to get involved with young folks that we feel can go either way. That can go either way. That's at an extreme level of being able to create a crime. And a violent crime at that, with the gun. And so I'm about to have this meeting right there in a few minutes. So when you check the pulse of these folks, just check their temperature. Man, it's folks, and a lot of it comes because we don't have any vision. You know, when I looked at the 5 Heartbeats movie, and the young man came home and said, you know, Daddy, I want to sing. And his daddy looked at him and said, you won't be nothing, because I ain't nothing. Just shattered. The folks that's supposed to bring you up, pick you up, inspire you, support you. But when they're in the household saying, and they can't see no more for your life, because they seen nothing for their life.
Right. No matter how high you jump, you can't get no higher than your head.
And so you got them folks, my brother say, pulling the rug from under you. And so you got so many people in the community pulling, and some of it's by design.
Oh, definitely.
Some of it's by design. We got gatekeepers all over the place. We got folks getting paid off your dysfunction. You got folks, you know, that don't want to see you coming. You got own family members. You got your own family members. That, oh no, I ain't gonna. I got people in throughout the community. They don't want to shop. They don't want to do this because they think if they pump me up, then I'm gonna get too far out of reach and out of sight of them. But they don't know. I know my purpose, and my purpose is to pull everybody up, leave the door open, leave the door wide open. I get some new information. I share new information. So that we can grow as a community, because you cannot be on an island by yourself. Because what some of the things that I might need, you got. And if you ain't on nothing, how can you give me something?
You talked about vision, and my wife, we got the call today. We didn't get a loan. We didn't get the grant money from United Way, and she was a little down. I wasn't down. You know why I wasn't down? Because I do this. I've been doing it a long time, and God keep providing. You know what I'm saying? And we the new kid on the block. You know, I can see him saying, well, you know, they've been around 3 or 4 years. We want to make sure they're not job. It's his vision. And I didn't get a chance to elaborate because she was at work. But this what he want done. If it was up to me, I'd be in Texas somewhere. And then he had me move to Rantoul. You know what I'm saying? This is his vision. If he don't provide for his vision, then it's over with anyway. And so you have to, Sean, you really have to be plugged. You have to be connected, and I mean God connected. Because if you won't, man, this stuff will run you crazy.
You know,
this negativity, man, it'll run you crazy. You know, it just day-to-day operations. You know, you putting out this fire, you putting out this fire, you putting out this fire. I tell you what.
And somebody else over here being an arsonist.
Yeah. Every time you put a fire out, they start another. You know what I'm saying? And so you really,
Community arsonist.
You really, really, really have to be plugged. I saw a guy before I came here, and he blew at me, blowing back in his car, had another guy in there looking half dead. And I said, man, I moved and ran too. I said, be careful. I know what he's doing. I said, be careful, because you special, man. And he had the blunt in his hand. He looked at me like, yeah, you special. Be careful out here.
Untapped power. Untapped power.
And so you
Raising another young man.
You have to see with the vision.
Raising another young man, and then got a woman on the side that's supposed to be looking up to him and raising women. And you coming in, and during the daytime, you running around like that because you ain't tapped into your purpose.
You think your purpose is to play PlayStation all day.
Get as high as you can get. I'm like a Snoop them. High. Oh no, it wasn't Cat Williams. High as you trying to get. You know what I'm saying? You know, they came out with a song, man, that say, don't spend all your time trying to get high. That's the jewel that you trade. You know, you'll start replacing stuff.
They used to call it Chasing Jason when they first started freebase and all that in Richard Pryor days. They called it Chasing Jason.
We all understand that we need something because it's a feeling in the inside. That it's a void that's missing. So we start filling that precious jewel of a void with other things. We start filling it in with, now my jewel is gonna be weed, and my jewel I'm gonna attach to might be alcohol, it might be sex, it might be basketball, all these things that mount up to nothing.
Phyllis, the Bible called it vain repetition. Vanity is vanity. Solomon said, I had it all. 300-400 wives and 800-900 concubines. The man had it all. He said at the end, man, it was vanity and vexation of the spirit. You know
what, Brother Hub, one of the things about it, right? So when Jesus was on the cross, he said, it is finished. Because he was all used up. In 33 years, he was all used up. Paul said, I finished my course. Because he had did everything.
I wrote that down. So Paul, God told Paul that he was going to go to Rome and see Caesar. On his way there, he was stoned, snake bit, the ship wrecked. They say, now I don't know how true this is, but Miles Monroe said back then 40 lashes could kill a man.
Yeah.
They hit him 39 times. He said, I'm a Roman. They couldn't hit him no more. One more lick would have killed Paul. But all that happened, but Paul couldn't die because he hadn't been to Rome. He said, man, I got to see Caesar.
He had a purpose.
He had a purpose, man.
He had a purpose.
And the purpose gets you out of the bed. You run 3, 4, 5 different corporations, man. But it's your purpose that gets you. That's the only reason you ain't quit.
Who was that had to get had the fish and got swallowed by the fish? Who was that?
Jonah.
Jonah. Because he was supposed to be going to Nineveh.
Nineveh.
He was supposed to be going to Nineveh. I got the story. I didn't did enough church, man.
Yes,
I got the story.
Shout out to Bishop Wright for playing the
I got church. Pastor Elam used to say, man, you got it in you, man. It's hidden in your heart, you know. And he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to follow the instructions. Same way Paul, he didn't want to follow instructions. You know, he didn't want to follow instructions because what you said, because he got stoned, he got this, he got that. And when you walk in your purpose, a lot of this is the problem, right? This is the problem, right?
What's the problem?
This is the problem, right? So the people that do-gooders, right? That do Christian, everyday Christian folks, you know. I'm talking to my Christian folk now. You know, a lot of times we set such a false standard.
Yes, sir.
We set such a false standard when we thinking Christianhood and it's gonna be this and your life should be like this, and we think and we always thought when as a kid that you know if you do this here, then your life is gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy street, but it's not. You gonna get so even when I get frustrated because they hating, they say something bad about me, and I know it ain't right, and I want to get on Facebook and I want to go ham. You know, I mean, I really want to go in. And then somebody like yourself or Dr. P say, man, get off that Facebook, man. Don't say nothing like that. But I got to understand that I'm working in my purpose and I'm going to get stoned.
You in war.
I'm going to get.
Who in Iraq ain't going to get shot at?
Come on, man.
Who in Iraq ain't going to hear no
Come on, man.
bombs?
Come on, man.
Who in Iraq ain't going to hear no mortar?
Come on. You ain't going to hit your toe. You ain't going to stumble and hit your toe.
Man.
Make a mistake here and there. You know what I'm saying? So I got to be able to understand that it's going to be some bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Trying to follow through with my purpose.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm trying to open up the door. I'm trying to inspire young folks where young folks can be from Champaign-Urbana and say, man, I can make it in Champaign-Urbana. Because what our culture and our community say, you can't do that here. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Atlanta. Who is you to do something in Champaign? You're doing something outside the box. You know.
But in my defense, because I tell them to get out of here, I tell the young guys to get out of here. You're saying this, but you've been all over the world.
Because I got up out of here.
Yeah.
Because I got up out of here.
You've been all over the world. You've been to Germany.
Because I got up out of here.
You went and seen some stuff.
And we go back to, what do you see?
Yeah, what do you see? Now check this out.
What do you see?
Revelations, about the 3rd chapter. He told John the Revelator on the Island of Patmos. He told him about the past, 7 churches, all this. He told him about the present. But before he would reveal, Revelations reveal, before he would reveal the future stuff to him, he said, come up hither and I will show you.
Had to take him somewhere.
Yeah, come up hither and I will show you things to come. So you got to come up higher, because what we see from here is different what we see if we was on top of the Assembly Hall. See, we can see way better on top of Assembly Hall than we can see from ground level. And so he was saying, before I tell you about the future, you got to come up hither. You might have to do a little bit more fasting. You might have to do a bit more praying. You might have to do a bit more reading. You might have to discipline yourself a little bit more. The Holy Spirit told me the other day, look, man, you got diabetes. You got rid of it once on being disciplined. If you ain't disciplined not to drink a soda or not to eat up all that sugar, you ain't going to be disciplined when that woman come in your face. It's the same discipline. It takes the same discipline, exercise and discipline to say no across the board, no matter what it is. You got to have discipline. You know you can't be eating all them cupcakes. And you got sugar. The old folks say sugar. You can't do that. It takes discipline. You got to discipline yourself. The Bible says some things only come through fasting and praying.
You know, Brother Hub, as you was talking, you know, the old saints just, it was all in my head. And I was thinking about, Deacon A.C. Patterson and Brother David King and some of these other folks that was back in the day, and Sister Effie and them, and they was singing, and Sister Kelly and them, and they had a song that they was singing, said, as I look back over my life and I think things over. You know, and as I look back over, I had a vision of my life on Hickory Street in the 1-bedroom. And all my customers coming up, Big Toon back in the day when he was, you know, on the street over there off Bellefontaine, and you know, all them other guys coming up and down them stairs, and they come to shop with me, and I'm telling them, I said, man, I want to get me a barbershop, man. I'm gonna get me a barbershop. And at that time, I ain't got 2 nickels to rub together. You know, I ain't got eye water to cry with. My mama say, you ain't got a window to throw it out of. And, you know, but I got vision. I could see. I could see myself in there. I could see when I went to go get that, and I went to write the plan out. I wrote a plan for a 12-chair shop when I sat in front of them guys, Mr. Page and Mr. Griggs and them guys. I shot it to them. You know, it was a plan. It was a visionary plan of 12 chairs. I want to bring 12 brothers and sisters with me. Man, we can sit in here, man, and we can change the atmosphere. You know, Father Pfleger said, change the atmosphere.
That's right. That's what he said.
He said, change the atmosphere. He talked about the lady. He talked about how, what's the story with the lady? And she changed the atmosphere when an oil fell over.
What? Oh, when she washed Jesus' feet?
No, with the oil. Something about with the oil and the alabasters box, and the oil leaked out, and the Bible talked about how it changed the atmosphere. That's what Father Pfleger talked about. Too many of us doing stuff and ain't trying to change the atmosphere. Man, when you go in there and you dealing with this here, boys to men and girls to women and the housing programs and this, that, and other, it's time out for normal.
Right. Let me tell you this. In 2014, maybe 15, I started working at J.W. Ader. And I had to go to the magic show, like within the second week of school. Maybe the first week, but I think it's second week. Second week of school, I'm gone. I took off for one day. And I came back the next day. And a teacher come in my office. Said, how you doing, Mr. Burnett? I said, I'm doing well. How you doing? She said, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She said, you wasn't here yesterday, were you?
Right,
I said, no, I had to go to magic show. She said, I could feel your presence, the absence of your presence.
Wow. Wow.
See what I'm saying? You if you're a game changer, people gonna know. Some people cheer when you leave the room. Other people cheer when you come in the room. What are they doing for you? Are they cheering when you leave, or are they cheering when you come in? You got the Bible said we're the salt of the earth, and if the salt denotes influencing, and he said if you don't have no salt, you good for nothing but to be cast down and trodden on among men.
You know, we always reflect back in the military because that's part of our DNA as military, right? And so when I was over in Germany, I had a first sergeant named First Sergeant Mendez, right? And he was hardcore. He was a Vietnam vet. He was hardcore. But he wanted you to work so that you get a work ethic about you. You know what I'm saying? And even though that sometimes we might have days off where we can just be there and just stand around in the atmosphere and do nothing. But within 30 days we get paid whether we did something or not.
That's right.
And so every time he would write on your slip that you got about how much money you made and what was taken out. He'd write on that whether it was a smiley face or a sad face the way he felt about you, right? And then he'll hand it to you and say, soldier, can you take your check this month with your head up or with your head down? What he meant is that you do work, that you work for that check.
Or was you stealing?
Or was you?
A whole lot of folks stealing.
Man, we go to work not to work.
Hey, theft by deception.
We go to work not to work. But then at the same time, in the same breath, we want to be the supervisor. But you ain't even a good private.
And I was going to say, I mean, you had a vision of 12 chairs, but you put in work. See, a whole lot of people got vision, but they ain't got no work.
Man.
Faith without works is dead. You see what I'm saying? And so, you had a vision of 12 thing, but you put in a lot of work.
Man, I put heart and soul in it. Old folks used to tell you, whatever you do, be the best at it. Whatever you do, be the best at it. I don't care what it is. If it's crap shooting, be the best crap shooter. If it's card playing, I love spades. I love dominoes. And you know what I'm saying? And I just played some dominoes with some cats, and they play all the time. But I went right there because we got mileage under us playing dominoes when we was in the woods, staying 60 days in the woods. And we spent a bunch of time playing dominoes. So I got more flight hours than they know. Because folks don't think you know.
No, that's right. That's
so
right.
I sat down there with dominoes and cracked them, and they play every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday they play, and I cracked them, because I know. And so whatever you do, be the best at it.
Sir.
So when it come down to whether if it's the barbershop business, whether if it come down to restaurant business and cooking and stuff. One of the guys that had a restaurant, he said, man, Sean, you don't never eat my food. I said, you know what? I was in the military 6 years as a cook. And I said, the Army taught me real well. I said, man, if I eat your food and get sick, it ain't even your fault. It's mine because I see red flags everywhere. Everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So whether if it's my insurance business, man, I sit down with these folks, man, I explain to them the what can happen, what cannot happen. I know the ins and outs because I sat there and I did the research. You just said, man, you do the research.
That's right.
You've been doing some research.
Yes, sir.
And whether if it's
Robin Hood, shout out to Robin Hood Investments.
whether if it's now the club business, you know what I'm saying? I done partied a many days. I know how to throw a party, man. That's why the celebration of life service is so good for me in the funeral home business. Because the celebration of life is a party, man. How well can you celebrate this person's life?
Legacy.
And looking at every intricate detail of when I first meet that family and they say this.
Yes, sir.
And then I bring it out to
Yes,
her.
sir.
Man, you was paying attention to
Yes,
that?
sir.
Oh, I was paying attention because it's your mama, man. And I'm going to treat your mama like I'm going to treat my mama.
That's it.
I'm going to treat your daddy like I
sir.
treat my
Yes,
daddy.
sir. And as long as you keep that attitude.
Man, come on,
Let me
man.
tell you what the Bible says. This ain't her. The Bible said your blessing say, hey, you seen Sean Williams? Who are you? I'm his blessing. Where he at? We looking for him.
You know, a lot of times, you know, even when folks is trying to blow your candle out, you know what I'm saying? And I understand how it happens because you do a man in the mirror check. You get frustrated with me because you get frustrated with yourself. I understand how it go.
Well, they see in
But-
you what they should be.
What
in
your,
them.
you know,
Yeah.
but you got to work your own. You got to
Yeah.
work your own dash.
The Bible said
I'm working
work
my
out your
dash.
own
You
soul
got to work. You got to work
salvation.
your own. That means your dash. Work your own dash.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? I just been on Sunday mornings, even when I done stayed up late in a stupor.
Yes, sir.
I know where my blessing at.
Yes,
I know
sir.
where I need to recharge at.
Yes, sir.
I'm running over to Mount Calvary so
Yes,
I can
sir.
sit right there and
Yes,
listen
sir.
and
Yes,
get some more fat
Yes,
on my
sir.
head.
Yes, sir.
But even because I know my maker and I know where I come from, so you know whether if it was Chevy, whether if it was Mercedes, whether if it was Bentley was the maker, I know that Jesus, the God is the maker. You know, I want to go back there, and so even when I lose, I win. So even when you thought at death, when you're thinking at death, because we think of losing at death, you really won. When you have walked in your purpose.
That's right. Because to be absent from the body is present with the Lord.
Man, that's called shouting right there. Because you done work within your purpose. And even when folks should have got the, you disciplined yourself so you can still walk in your purpose. You know, and so I understand it, man, and I see it. What do you see? So many folks then gave up on what they see, man. It's called Social Security disability. I'm not knocking that. But when you got more energy, you use that as a tool to say, man, you know, I'm gonna work myself out. My buddy that died in the car, that got messed up in the car accident, right? So when I went up to see him in the hospital, he was telling the nurse, and she said, you know, as long as you got good friends around you and they inspire you, again, your energy to keep on pressing, we gonna get you up here to Chicago to the rehabilitation place. He said, ma'am, I'm ready to go right now. Because even in the state where he's strapped down and can't move nothing, he ready to want him in his mind, in his heart. He ready to move something, man. He ready to get his arms back on. He got grandbabies to live for. He got folks he not to move.
He got a new lease on life.
Come on,
He
man.
looked to the left, he gone. He looked to the right, he gone. I'm still here. I got to do something different.
It got to be something.
God left me here for a
It
reason.
got to be something. It got to be something. You know, and you got to find out that something, man. What do you see? Do you see yourself just in a failing community? Or do you see yourself healing your failed community? I see myself healing my failed community.
Man.
I see myself come hither now, bringing somebody else up, mentoring somebody else. The most biggest gift you can give to somebody is mentoring others, man. Not beating other folks out. Oh man, all he want to do is get this and get that to beat somebody out. And then one other thing before I give this this TV program. Man, stop always putting more trust into somebody you don't know before you put trust in the folks that you've been knowing. That's Champaign has always did that. We can't go to no other community and they do that.
I just, young man was referred. Shout out to Cook Keaton. She sent a young man from Salem to my shop. That's why I was late, and we talked. He's a big guy, and he said, "Man, you got this? You got this?" I said, "Here, man. Point it out in this here in 2 days. Exclusivity. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't concentrate. I don't put the magnifying glass on who ain't shopping. Even though I know if people was shopping like they supposed to, I'd have to have 5 stores, you know. But I never put the magnifying glass on the people who ain't. Man, I love the ones who come through.
But you know what, Brother Hub? So for the vision, what I see, right? Because I see, like we got an event going on tonight, right? And so it's young folks, because you got the Urbana game, you got the Savannah playing Central, right? So we're inviting the young folks to have them a place where they can release. So I got 30 employees, 30 just security. Then we got, and that's today and tomorrow. Then I got probably 16 other folks that's down there working. When I do my funeral home business, I probably got 10 different folks I'm paying. That lives depend on this. That's right. And when I can't provide for them, it frustrates me because they frustrated. And I know they got grandbabies that they got to take care of. And that's where the frustration come in at, because it ain't just about me. When I was down in my place the other day, right, for Super Bowl, you know, big shouts out to KC, right? And when I was down there, the young man said, "You the one got the bin?" I said, yeah, I do. I said, and I said, man, but it ain't mine, it's God's. But God gave it to me to inspire you. Man, pull your pants up. Take that hoodie off. Man, get into your purpose. Get on in school.
You know what really been heavy on my mind? Shout out to the administration of Rantoul High School. I'm in there a couple days a week, kind of like doing my practicum. It's sort of like student teaching, but it's really practical. I'm getting great for each student for me. But one of the teachers came up to me the third day, and she said, "Who are you? These kids are going crazy over you. Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm Coach Hub. Mr. Burnett is my name. And I had these kids that are 9th, 10th, 11th. I had them as 6th, 7th, 8th graders at Ader. And at Ader, it was a lack of African American males in the building. I think Lester Washington and Marquise Lowe were the only two. And so I was able to show them a picture. Suited and booted, shirt and tie, everyday professional. I was able to compete with maybe the dope boy that they see when they got home, right? Professional, genuine concern, proud black man, not trying to be nobody but who God made me to be, proud. And so I was able to show them a picture. And so thanks to Rantoul High School letting me in and letting me do some practicum there, they saw the picture. Fortunately, the blacks, the white, and the Hispanics saw the picture that they had seen 3 years ago. And so my point is, we have to always be showing a picture. I took a picture in Sam's with Grandma Rose. Grandma Rose had the 5 ice cream cones. Mary had the candy in the 40 ounces, but Grandma Rose had the ice cream.
Yeah.
Johnny Wilson was Lila Mae Wilson was across the park with the Polishes and bologna sandwiches. But Grandma Rose said, "I got the ice cream on lock."
You know, one thing about
Show a picture.
One thing about it, I always thank God for our humbleness.
Yes, sir.
Because that is it is. I remember scripture, humble yourself
in the sight of the Lord.
In the sight of the Lord. And so I thank the Lord for everybody that been watching this program and that view us every Sunday night. I thank the Lord for UPTV. We don't want to never get rid of UPTV over here because of the fact that it is a great tool and a great avenue to be able to access folks. And you do not want to take away from accessing people because that's the power into it. And so I thank the Lord for you. Thank you, Lord, for your brother Hub. It's always a pleasure when players meet. And it's funny how time flies when you're having fun. Thank you for watching another episode of Let the Truth Be Told.
Peace.